What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head back on over to California, right? Gavin Newsom's California. Why is that? Because DNC lunatics continue to F around and find out. They keep having this foolishness in their head, drinking the DNC Kool-Aid, that they're freedom fighters, fighting against ICE, fighting against the Gestapo, modern day Nazis, when at the end of the day, they all just end up being criminals that get forgotten about once they commit their crime against federal law enforcement. And that's the situation that we have here in California today. This news broke yesterday, but there was very limited details, so I didn't speak on it at the time, right? But we have the usual nonsense of Efron and find out, and I'm not going to intro the video. I'm just going to play it. So let's get into this right now.
Breaking news at 5, a chaotic scene unfolded in Ontario. Federal agents surround a car and shoot a driver. They say he was trying to ram them. It's the second shooting involving ICE in Southern California in just over a week. I'm Christine Devine. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez is live in Ontario with more on this breaking news. Christina.
Yeah, the original stop, it was a vehicle stop, was right here on Vineyard, on this street. Federal officers had stopped somebody. Somebody else stopped their vehicle. They end up getting shot, and they drove right around the corner into this mobile home park. Let's show you what happened.
Freedom fighter, DHS, federal agents were going after the target. You're not the target, but you decide, like you silly people typically do, like you do in Chicago, you're playing these games. You see federal agents doing their thing. You want to pull up in front of them. You want to stop your vehicle, start honking your horn like a lunatic. You see these guys, they love blowing whistles because apparently they're alerting the community. ICE is here. Federal agents are here. They gave you a lawful order to get out the way. I read that in the LA Times. They didn't move out the way. Instead, they decided to put their vehicle in reverse in an attempt to ram them. And then what happens? Hey, next thing you know, bang, bang, bang. You know, using your vehicle to ram another car, that is a deadly weapon. So at that point, it's all up there now. I can pull out my firearm and defend myself accordingly because you're using a deadly weapon against me. All right, let's see where this continues to go.
Federal agents confirmed they were in the middle of stopping this dark-colored Honda on Vineyard Avenue as their SUVs surrounded the car. The man driving this lighter-colored Lexus stopped and tried to intervene.
He saw someone being basically surrounded by armed men with a mask, and so he...
Oh, shut up. Golly. What the DNC think that armed men with long guns and you guys make me sick, man. Because it's this right here. It's this right here that's getting people shot who shouldn't be shot. That lunatic that decided to obstruct justice, that was impeding in an arrest. If you guys weren't spreading garbage like this, you wouldn't have pumped that other guy's head up full of nonsense that would have led him to obstructing justice, impeding an arrest, disobeying law enforcement, and now thinking that he's a freedom fighter. I'm going to reverse into federal agents that then led him to getting shot. It's people like him. It's his fault. It's his fault. It's that guy's fault right here. Your buddy got shot because of the nonsense that's coming out of your mouth. I'm so irritated with hearing masked men with guns, and they were. Let's carry on.
Decided that he was gonna try to see what was going on.
Javier Hernandez is speaking for the family of the man in the Lexus, who, according to a statement from Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, quote, attempted to run officers over by reversing directly at them without stopping. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, fired defensive shots at the vehicle.
What we know is that he was shot in the shoulder. He then drove himself to his brother's house.
Just around the corner to the Country Meadows mobile home park, where you can see investigators surrounding the vehicle, even make out a shattered window. Now, the family says a 24-year-old was shot in the shoulder, so they immediately drove him to a nearby hospital with federal agents right behind them.
We do know that he was released from the hospital, but the family doesn't know where he's at. They believe that he's obviously in custody of federal government.
This comes
Obviously, I thought I'm glad he didn't say that they disappeared him. He's been disappeared. We don't know where he's at, because that's typically where they go with this kind of stuff. We don't know where he's at. He's been disappeared. No, you haven't been disappeared. You're under arrest. That's what happened. You're under arrest.
just over a week after TikTok influenced.
Let me rewind it back just a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let the rest play out.
Hospital, but the family doesn't know where he's at. They believe that he's obviously in custody of federal government.
This comes just over a week after TikTok influencer Carlitos Ricardo Parias was shot in the elbow after investigators say he tried to ram his car into federal agents in South LA. A deputy marshal was hit by a ricochet bullet. Now, the man who was originally stopped today was not injured in the shooting. He was detained, as you see here. No word on why he was originally stopped.
There is no information. This is, where we need DHS to put more information out, not just for the family, but for the community here that is really scared about.
For the community here. I'm scared of lunatics like the guy that's talking. We heard 1,000,000,001 times from Tom Homan prior to mass deportation occurring that we would prefer to go after these guys in the jails. Let us in the prison so we don't have to get them in the street. If we have to go after them in the street, it creates a dangerous situation for everybody, not just for ICE agents, but for the illegal immigrants they're trying to detain. And if things go awry, it becomes dangerous for pedestrians who are just going about their business. Now imagine this shooting that occurred as the one, just like the one that occurred, I think it was last week with the influencer, because you guys continue to choose violence and ram your vehicles and attempt to ram your vehicles into ICE agents, to which they then lawfully respond back in kind, firing at you. You see how you had the one federal agent who got hit in the hand, I believe it was, because the bullet ricocheted and hit his hand in the midst of last week's shooting? What if it was just somebody walking down the street, somebody walking their dog, a child that's playing on the sidewalk? Anybody can get caught up in nonsense like this and end up either getting shot or losing their lives because DNC lunatics continue to give in to this nonsense that they're freedom fighting. They continue to give in to this nonsense that your community is under attack when none of that is happening. These situations are happening because of sanctuary city nonsense, where things will be so much easier if ICE could just go to the prison and get these guys. But you have DNC lunatics running the city and running these states that won't allow them to do that. So then they have to take to the streets, and then everybody's lives get put in danger. And now it's not just so much so because of the criminal illegal aliens that they're after, Trinidad Agua members, those who have multiple convictions, who have, violated women and children, RAPE, those who have other shootings and nonsense on their jacket concerning crimes. But now the situation is that much more dangerous and potentially deadly because of lunatics like you who insist on following behind ICE agents, trailing behind them, blocking their vehicles, and then choosing to run into them. You now make the city in that situation dangerous for everybody. But then you have this guy who's a douchebag, has the nerve to say the community is scared. The only reason they should be scared is because of what the kind of nonsense that you're spewing. You create that fear. That's what you create. And those of you who intervene, you make the situation that much more dangerous, where a shooting wouldn't have even occurred if you would have just let DHS do their job. But instead, here you come trying to play hero. When in the end of the day, now you're just a criminal. Where's Gavin Newsom now for this guy that's going to be up on charges? Where is Karen Bash now? Where is AOC now? Where are all these DNC lunatics? Where is what's name, Senator Alex Padilla here out of California? Where are they? Where's Katie Porter, the woman that's running for governor here in California? Where are they now? Where are they? Nowhere to be found. Instead, you're shot and going to be put up on federal charges, and you're most likely going to spend a little bit of time in jail. I don't know, man. But I'm the bad guy for reporting on this and speaking on this the way that I am. Any of these DNC lunatics watch this video, I'm the bad guy. I'm the one that's wrong in this situation. It's unbelievable, man. But you guys are going to learn one way or another. Keep effing around, and you're going to find out the hard way. Just like this guy did in Florida. Let's pivot over to Florida, where we have this guy who, thought he was anonymous online, but no one's ever really anonymous online, right? You can be found. Who was, sending out threats to ICE agents on Blue Sky, of all places. Who was on Blue Sky, right? But on Blue Sky, and let's see how that turned out for him. So we're going to leave California and head on over to the great state of Florida. Let's get into this video next. That is scary. You messed up. When the feds pull up to your house and they're pointing this at your door. What is that? That is terrifying. Oh, you're about to F around and find out. All right. Let's start this all over again. Wow.
I have children in the house. What is going on?
You just watched the moment federal agents used a battering ram to bust down the front door and serve a search warrant. Once inside, they searched the home from top to bottom, turning cameras toward the wall and taking computers. This morning, we know why. You can see some of the death threats agents say Giancola made online, including shoot the ICE agents down. DHS says he posted the threats to the social media platform Blue Sky under a fake name called Cain DeLeon. Agents provided 8 different instances where Giancola allegedly threatened to shoot and kill ICE agents, calling them Nazis, Gestapo, and rabid dogs.
Sir, hands above your head.
First off, the news anchor said Gestapo. It's not Gestapo, it's Gestapo. Secondly, for those of you who are on the internet thinking you're anonymous, look at this old man. Okay? He drank the MSNBC Kool-Aid. Lord have mercy, he drank the MSNBC Kool-Aid. And I would assume what's blurred out right there is probably a grandchild. You're risking your freedom, right? And the potential life of those you love. Because you heard the woman say, hey, what's going on? There's children in here. Stuff like this can go awry too. And you're putting your whole family at risk because you drank the Kool-Aid and you're running around here calling ICE Nazis and that you want to put an end to them? Are you crazy? This old man was portraying himself as some young guy here, Cain DeLeon, right? And he has this old young photo here, with the long hair, blonde hair, Cain DeLeon. Yeah. Cain DeLeon. On Blue Sky, which is, Blue Cry, what a lot of people call it. Blue Sky, for those of you who don't know, that's where Democrats go to cry about Trump. That's their version of Twitter, but it's called Blue Sky. And a lot of people that are Democrats, they've left Twitter to go to Blue Cry. But that's what that is. In case you're curious of what Blue Sky is, we people like me, we joke on it and call it Blue Cry, because that's where Democrats go to cry. But nonetheless, you thought you were going to be anonymous. And you find some young, handsome man with long blonde hair. I give him a nice suave name like Cain DeLeon and speak nonsense like this that I'm not going to repeat. The entire time you thought that you were anonymous, some young Cain DeLeon, handsome guy with long blonde hair, when in actuality, we know who you are. It's very easy to find you. No one is actually anonymous, and you're this old guy right here. You know what I mean? Talking crazy, issuing out threats, and now potentially looking at Fed time, right? Potentially looking at charges. For what? I'm going to keep speaking on this and talking about this and saying this stuff, man. Look at how these guys are playing with their lives, playing with their freedom. And for what? At the end of the day, like I always say, no one's going to remember your name. None of you guys are martyrs. I don't even remember you guys' real name as it is so far. I don't know who you guys are, and nobody else does either. But play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You guys are going to keep effing around and finding out. With all that being said, that is it for today's news. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. It is extremely important that you do that. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below and in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.